Hey everybody, hope your weekend is going well. My name is Jeff. My name is Jeff, by the way. Welcome new and returning viewers. I'm thankful for all of you guys. I'm a reseller. That's what I do. And I do it on different platforms. And I also do YouTube, as you can see. And today we're gonna do it's gonna be a little bit of housekeeping, some random thoughts which you may or may not find useful, and some what solds. So it is now Sunday at 3:45. I'm gonna start this video. Got a busy day. There's a con coming up in 2 weeks. Everybody and their brother wants their books pressed because CGC, the grading company, is going to be there. So it's much easier just to hand them off your books than it is to have to mail them in, and you save money that way. So it's good. Business is good on that front. Sales have been adequate, I guess is the best way to put it. Local sales have been fire. Just picture some fire emojis. It really helps that I'm getting a ton of amazing stuff to sell that I don't really want to sell on eBay, and but other stuff that I've had, things, for example, somebody messaged me about this today. This is a pretty adorable Loungefly Pikachu shoulder strap messenger bag. So I've had this listed on eBay for, I don't even know, 2 years. And I was doing a little bit of research. I'm like, okay, why is this not selling? It's extremely well priced. I have it priced at $42 right now. That's on sale. And then usually if somebody is going to add it to their watch list, I'm probably going to send them maybe a 10%, maybe not actually. Maybe not now that I've done a little bit of research. So there's one online, there's one on eBay that's for $75. It's brand new with tags. But mine is nearly half as much. And let me just look here. It's nearly half as much. There's really no wear on it. And it's just not getting any action. Cheap shipping. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know what? This is actually the ideal thing. I throw this up on Marketplace, throw it up on Carrot, maybe in Craigslist. I bet you I'm going to probably be able to sell it for more than I'm asking for on eBay. Maybe a little bit more because someone's not going to have to pay the shipping. Plus, it's kind of a really unique item. People are always searching Pokemon Pikachu. Should be an easy find. Whereas on eBay, Pokemon Pikachu, probably pretty competitive keywords to target. But at the same time, Pikachu Loungefly messenger bag. Somebody should be able... Let's type that in and see what comes up. No, let's just do Pikachu Loungefly. I mean, mine's probably not even... Okay, it does come up. But maybe that's because I'm searching on that account. You know what? Well, all right, let's do this. I'm already committed. I kind of want to see where this goes. I'm going to go into an incognito browser. I mean, I don't even think I've had a single offer on this item. And, I'm thinking to myself, economy tight, people wanting to get, good deals. I'm shocked that someone hasn't just thrown me an offer. This is just one thing. Is it because it's not being seen? Okay, no, it's there. So it's a sponsored ad. So there's basically, I just see the other person's in mine. I guess I'm just surprised that it hasn't sold. But again, this is one thing that I'm constantly doing as people make me offers on things, and as I'm, maybe doing resets and seeing items that I know I've had for a while. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to be able to find a better audience somewhere else. And I am. So that's one of the things that I've been doing. It just blows my mind. Anyhow, that's enough on that. I want to thank everybody that has reached out with the requests or of sharing, their willingness to share information. I am in touch with a person who is in touch with the journalist, and they are considering doing a piece kind of like about from the seller experience standpoint in 2023 of April 2023. So there's no clarification. And I know there had been some people that had reached out in the comment section of my last video saying that they want to, or there was like some problems, people couldn't find my contact information. So here we go. Insert graphic. Bum, bum. That's my email, guys. If you want to share, some information about what you've experienced in 2023 and the difficulties that you've experienced due to the eBay algorithmic shifts and kind of what they're doing, send me an email. Let's connect. I'll get your information and I will forward it to the person who is in touch with the journalist. So again, thank you for those that I've spoken with, and I've got some feelers out there for other people, and there's tons more. There should be an endless supply of resellers that have stories to tell. And if you have statistics and some documentation or things that you kind of keep track of, or things that you've noticed that you want to share, everything that helps color the seller experience, which I think is so sorely missing in everything from eBay's perspective. Like when you're listening to the quarterly earnings conference calls, it's always about the buyers, it's always about eBay and the shareholders, but what about the sellers? Like, hello, we're here too. We have feelings, we're real people, and we're severely impacted by some of the choices that eBay is making. And if we don't voice our concerns now, might be too late at some point. And heading into that point, such a good segue. The contact that I have, they compiled a list of issues. And I think the best way, instead of me just reading these to myself and me trying to think of a few things to add to it, is to share these list of issues that, from the seller's perspective, that we've experienced. And when you hear all of these in one kind of like concise bullet point proof of checklist of things, it's kind of like, holy man, we do deal with a bunch of BS when it comes to things that are going on with eBay. So I'm going to read these, and then I'm going to ask if anybody has anything to add to this list. Share it in the comment section below. I joked with my contact. I'm like, I bet Benny's going to have a couple that that I haven't thought of and this person hasn't thought of. So I'm going to run through this list. It's rather lengthy. It's like a trip down memory lane, and part of it we're still living this right now. But sales choked spring of 2023. Yes. Sales levels throttled, traffic throttled, bursts of activity, not organic flow with watchers and sales, and long periods of no activity. Yeah, like it's you'll go 13 hours without no sales, and then you'll get 3 in an hour, and then another 8 hours, and then 3 more. It's just eBay poor communication about changes and how to succeed now. Definitely one that I'm extremely resentful with the way eBay has, what they've done. And it's like, did they think we wouldn't notice? Like, really? Did they think that we would just not communicate with each other and, you know, kind of do our best to figure these things out. It's kind of insulting, to be honest with you. No, it is insulting. It insults our intelligence. It insults, you know, us as people that through blood, sweat, and tears have built, have contributed to the building of this e-commerce website, and this is how we're rewarded. Site glitches are relentless. Truth of the matter is, for me, I can deal with the site glitches if everything else is equal. But when you factor in everything, again, it's like get your site fixed. Overnight activity ceased. Promoting listings seem not to work. Ooh, boy, that's a good one. What I'm working on right now could potentially basically just illustrate that promoted listings don't actually work. But that's for another video. Black box for how promoted listing dollars are implemented. Essentially, that's just another way to say transparency. You know, we would like to know what we're getting, because again, it doesn't actually feel like what we're paying above and beyond the final value fees for these promoted listings, for this, you know, whatever percentage eBay says you get with more visibility. And, you know, they changed the terminology. It used to be you get more sales with promoted listings. Now you get more visibility. Now, a year from now, you get more consideration from buyers. They will consider your item, but yeah, anyhow. Garbage impressions, reduced customer support for sellers. Yeah, that's a big one for me. It's still there. It's still there, but for how much longer? And it's at a reduced capacity. And not just that, the quality of the support that you received, which falls on eBay to properly train the people. It has nothing to do where they live at geographically. I have received, sorry, I gotta pause this and respond to a customer. Not gonna be one take today, but it never was gonna be one take. I knew I'm gonna have to break this up. Search result, customer support. I think, you know, we all know eBay, at least we think think eBay wants to get to a point where they don't have any customer support. I don't know if that's what they want to get to. I really severely hope that is not the case. I cannot see how, I can't see how sellers can conduct business on eBay if we're not able to actually talk to somebody. Sorry, I'm just reading these texts from this pressing customer. Garbage impression. I said that. Search results stuffed with search results stuffed or irrelevant impressions. Listings visibility. Listings visibility to me is the two big issues: listing visibility and promoted listings, and I believe that they're forever intertwined right now. Intrackability. I'm not actually sure what that means. Vero issues. Buyers leaving. Why? Well, I mean, I think we know why. Is anybody having any Vero issues? I know every once in a while people get, you know, you know, every once in a while going to get a random one. At least that's kind of, you know, I know that it's been it's been almost a year since I've had any issues with any Veros. And I know that they don't fall off, but, which they should, but failure to develop new buyers onboarding, C2C sellers used in season abandon, advertising and promotions. Sorry, I'm just kind of really, this is Failure to drive increasing sales, extracting excess value from sellers to raise quarterly revenue. This is kind of just all like one big run-on sentence. But is there anything that missed that you guys can think of that you feel is very important, like issues within the platform, within the seller experience, that I think off the top of my head, one that seems to be talked about a lot right now is the idea that the statistics that we have in the back office seem to fluctuate with, after 4 or 5 days of, from 4 days past, the statistics, the impressions, the page views, they adjust. And, I for one would rather not have the impressions, or I would rather not have any of that information until it's cemented in stone, because I just don't see what's the point. How can you use useful statistics? How can you use statistics usefully if they're varying? Other than the fact that they're only going to probably vary within 10 to 15% either way. But yeah. Before I forget, instead of having to send a message, Carl at eBay Life and Pete, if you guys are interested in sharing, in communicating with the journal, I know Pete, I know you would have statistics. If you want to talk about your experiences with this journalist and share what you've gone through, I think you two would be a great representation of UK, and of course anybody else who is in the UK would like to. But instead of me sending a message, I'm hoping that both of you watch this video. And if you do, Carl, which I think you will, if you want to maybe message Pete and see if he would be open to that. If so, but Carl, we're connected on Facebook, so you could just send me a message there. All right, so that's the list. So again, if you have anything to add in the comment section that you think that list didn't cover, please put that in the comment section below. Something I want to talk to you guys about that happened to me when I was doing that same day shipping, and a couple weeks ago, and I ended up having some lates. I had something happen to me, and I don't know how it happened. I guess it just must have been that, basically the items had shipped out, but I hadn't marked them as shipped, and I had 4. So, after midnight when it rolls over, I basically have an alarm set right after midnight, so I know to mark ship the items that are due that day and enter, whatever information is. I had missed 4 items that I should have marked as shipped on one day. But the interesting thing is, when I go to my seller dashboard, and I actually had called into the eBay the next day, and I wanted to talk to them, because I had, again, marked them all as shipped. I had shipped them all. In fact, the very next day, one of them came up, and the guy had left feedback. But the interesting thing is, I only have one. So you know how they do on the 20th, they do the update. This was like a couple weeks ago when I had these late things. I only have one late shipment. So when I was speaking with the customer service rep, and I said, are these going to show up as late on my statistics? And they were like, no, only if the customer reports it as being late. And again, I know for a fact 2 of the 4, they've had already left feedback, like either the very next day or the next day after, which obviously I shipped them before. They couldn't possibly have been late, because they couldn't have possibly have gotten there in the time frame that from when I marked it as shipped to when I got feedback. But I just thought that was an interesting concept, because it's stressful if you forget to do something, and even though you did it, but you forgot to kind of do it in the system, I don't think it actually counts as late. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Okay, so Maria's making lunch in the space where I'm at, and I just want to kind of finish this one train of thought about tracking and why I do the way that I do. Like, instead of, because I don't use eBay for shipping, and I don't like to upload it on the same day, or the same day that I actually ship it out, because I have found in my experience that I like to give it some lead time to get to the customer, to avoid what happened to me the other day or the other month, where a buyer opened a case as soon as he could, saying he didn't get the item, and then I ended up waiting, and then for the case to take its course, and then I had to refund him, and then the very next day he gets his shipment. And because of the way I do what I do, everybody on my feedback is like, fast shipping, like they're blown away. Usually what I do is I wait until one day before it's due and then upload it. Sometimes, depending on where it's going, I'll wait unless they start calling me, well, not calling me, but messaging me asking about it, which happens every once in a while. I have found that it's a better buyer experience for the customer, and I'm basing this on my feedback, that I like to wait and then upload it, or mark it as shipped, because that's the other thing, is not everything on Maria's store has tracking. Again, a better buyer experience is paying for as little as shipping it as you can. And some of the lower price items that I sell, and they're like buttons and pins and patches that are lower weight, lower value, some don't have tracking, and so I like to give it a lead time and wait, as long as I can to mark it as shipped. This is just what I've done. You might not agree with it, or you might not see value in it, but this is what I've always done. So I just kind of wanted to give that backstory and that explanation as to why I do what I do, and how I ended up getting those 4 lates. Well, part of that is also because I wasn't used to shipping same day. But even though they weren't technically late, they were late in the eyes of eBay. But they didn't count against my seller metrics, which I thought was unusual. I figured eBay would take any opportunity to ding you, but they didn't. So there's that. One other concept or thought I wanted to share with you, and this wasn't my thought. This was from a viewer, from a friend, and a very successful reseller. And he sent me a message, and he goes, he had an epiphany. He goes, think about it. If eBay search worked the way it should work, there would be no need for promoted listings. Think about that for a minute. And while I probably had that thought, or had something close to that thought, I had never sat down and thought, you know what, this is exactly right. If eBay search worked, we would not need to use promoted listings. Just think about that concept for a moment. So is it by design that the search is the way it is? Like, is it intentionally messed up? Is it intentionally difficult to be able to find what, is the whole concept of, seller item specifics, and eBay saying that the search was clunky before, ineffective before, and now they're trying to maybe the whole idea that they're trying to offer what they think the buyer wants is just a clever way to mask that they want to do that through promoted listings. What are your guys' thoughts on that? So I thought it was pretty interesting. It's definitely one nefarious take, but yeah. Hey everybody, it is now midnight. Yeah, midnight. I thought I was doing so well starting this video off at daylight. I had to go to my brother-in-law's to pick up more stuff, and I gotta say, my basement is thoroughly full. And I don't know what I'm gonna do because garage sale season is coming, but I need to process this stuff fast. And I had to go meet a pressing customer. So today, eBay sales sucked, but overall, I had a great day. I sold basically 2.5 times what I did on eBay, and I had a really large pressing order that I collected on. So my plan is working, right? eBay sucks. It's not really affecting me in terms of, well, eBay sales suck, but using the transitive property, eBay sucks because, yeah, they're not showing stuff. But anyhow, I had a great day. So my plan is working in terms of diversifying. And so I still have another big order for pressing, and then I picked up another one today. Basically, there's a local con that's going to happen in 2 weeks. It's kind of the bigger ones, and CGC is going to be there. So everybody's kind of trying to get their books pressed, so they don't actually have to mail them in to have them graded. And then I found out I missed a small con today, so I'm really dropping the ball there. But what are you going to do? So I'm going to get into some what sold on Maria's account. There's not as many on there. It's a lot of smaller stuff, so it's going to go pretty quick. And I can't actually remember where I left off. So I'm probably missing a few sales in between the last what sold video, which was quite a while ago. I'm definitely missing some things, so I'm not going to worry about it. I don't really want this video to go too long. And then before that, I want to get into a brand new segment that I want to do. And I firmly believe that feedback is going to become a problem in the future as eBay basically focuses on the buyer experience nearly solely for fear of that's my mark shipped. I'm gonna pause this video and do that right now because I need to mark my stuff as shipped, because if I don't, I get distracted, and that's how bad things happen. All right, I had to pack a couple things up too. When that alarm goes off, every time it does, Maria is like, mark shipped. And so I just have to stop what I'm doing because I know myself. I know that if I say in the back of my mind, oh, I'll do it later, 100% I'll forget. All right, so where were we? eBay's unwavering dedication to appeasing the buyers. It is going to bite us in the butts. And it already is, with a lot of, I see these videos about people getting negative feedback, that you're not being able to get them removed. So, and if eBay would only just advertise and start actually bringing in new buyers, they wouldn't feel so compelled to hold on so tightly to all the buyers that they currently have, even the bad ones. And there are some bad ones. And in light of this, one of the things that I do, and I've talked about this before, is when I'm comping something or searching up something, and then I see the seller's names on the side and their feedback score, one of the things I like to do is kind of just take a look and see what they got negative feedback for. Not because I'm looking to spot and call out bad sellers. Quite the opposite. I'm looking for feedback that is completely ridiculous, and like the things that if you only took the time just looking at the feedback, number one, like if you were an eBay rep, just looking at the feedback, why should one whether it's a vindictive or angry or just a bitter customer, why should they get to ruin somebody's perfect track record of sales? It's not, no, nobody wins. I know eBay preaches, oh, we want the customer to feel that every aspect of their transaction, their experience on eBay, every aspect of it is under the umbrella of what they can put for feedback. And so in light of that, I want to start a new segment. Every segment I said I was ever going to do, none of them stick. Maybe this one will, maybe it won't, but I call BS eBay. That's the name of the segment. Don't you just love my graphics? So this is going to be the I call BS segment. I call BS eBay segment. If I sound a little different, it's because I'm stuffy. My allergies are like drying me up. I'm overall overworked, but a good kind of overworked. And so what this segment is going to do is, when I see a feedback that I feel, please tell me this window didn't close too. If it does, then this segment is kaput. Un momento. Well, so I had all this stuff queued up. Oh my goodness. I had all these pages and things that I wanted to read. Everything, I didn't even realize it disappeared, closed. Maybe the Firefox had a, I don't know. So I looked in my history, I can't find the comment, and like I had other things that I wanted to read. So I'm going to do my best to recreate it from memory. I think I have the highlights, but essentially this particular customer was buying this they were buying, it was like a person was on a horse. It was like a little figurine, almost like an ornament. And I actually looked at the pictures, it looked completely fine. But so essentially the feedback was that they bought this thing and they waited 27 days to file a return. And they said that they received it broken, and that the seller didn't disclose the information, and they were very upset. They used a lot of caps, and they said that they did receive 100% full refund before sending it back. And they felt, how did they put it? They felt betrayed, that they couldn't trust that the seller would the defects should have been shown in the pictures. Now, the seller responded to the comment, and he said that there was no defects on it when it was sent out. Why did the buyer wait so long to file a return? And he ended up not even getting back the item until like mid-March, whatever. It was like 2 weeks after the return was filed. That's not really important. The part about this that I'm suspicious of is, clearly this is the kind of buyer that if they received it broken, they would have been filing that return the first day that they got it, like 100%. They wouldn't have waited until, they wouldn't have held on to it 27 days and then right before the return, because the seller offered 30-day returns. And my problem with this is that And I actually had a couple of their backup ones, and I lost those ones too. But they were neutrals. I actually think that somebody gave a neutral, but the word the what they left was great transaction, but they left a neutral. Like, I call BS on that. Like, how can eBay allow a neutral if clearly the buyer's happy? So yeah, I wish I would have the actual comment, but it's very suspicious to me. And part of this stems from the idea that the buyer is always right. And again, I actually had information on that. That is not actually the original saying of like, there's two different people that supposedly kind of coined this phrase, but it's like the buyer is always right when it comes to a matter of choice, like what they choose, whatever they choose to buy, they're right in that decision. And I think that eBay, like, where eBay is getting this wrong is they're blanketing the feedback system now, like, where they're making it very difficult to have, to really challenge these feedbacks that are left. So this segment got off to a horrible start. And like I said, I had other things that I kind of wanted to segue into out of that, but all of it's gone. So let's just get into the what's sold for now. And but before I do, Jack and I were talking about promoted listings tonight, and obviously, you all know my feelings on promoted listings. They're broken. They don't work. They're a money grab. They're not actually advertising. They're just placement. All of those things. And I had mentioned earlier about the concept of, if search worked, nobody would need promoted listings. So the question is search broken? Is it just broken? Did eBay do something and they don't know how to fix it, or is it intentionally broken? But it got me thinking about advertising and about how, maybe sellers should be, responsible in some capacity to help bring in buyers to a platform that is treating its sellers well. That is not the case right now. But in a hypothetical situation, and eBay, if you're listening, I want you to think about this. I mean, obviously, you're not going to do this, but promoted listings suck and they don't work. And if we could go back to a hypothetical situation where search was working the way it was, sales were fine the way they were pre-April, we could scale to some degree. We could have the confidence and the stability in the platform. And if promoted listings didn't exist, which they shouldn't exist in the capacity that they are at best, they don't really work. At worst, they're just an absolute cash grab, and there's no transparency in it as well. So, but going to that scenario where search worked, there was no promoted listings, sales were the way they were, I said to Jack, I go, if that was the case, I think I would actually do something like off-site ads, like trying to, if off-site ads worked in a way where, let's say you could predict your earnings based on how much you listed, right? Like you can't just predict your earnings if you have X amount of listings and then you stop listing. But users of the platform, sellers of a platform, you kind of had an idea based on your output what your return would be. We don't have that now. It is completely whacked. But if I was making X amount consistently and I wanted to try to increase it, uh, and I thought that offsite ads was a way that I could, basically have a marketing budget and try that, I would be down for that. But the way the current system is, eBay wants a piece of your pie through promoted listings or standard or pay-per-click or advertise my store, all of these things. It's preposterous the way it is. So that was just a thought I had, and I felt like it was worth sharing because in a way it's not like I'm opposed to any form of advertising, but it has to make sense, right? And the offsite ads that I tried in December, it was a horrible experience for me in terms of the yield that it returned based on the daily advertising budget that I set. In fact, I couldn't even, it wouldn't even use my full advertising budget, which I thought was kind of weird, actually. I never really talked about it, but I remembered thinking that, like, I set it at the beginning of the month or close to the beginning of the month for $5 or $6 a day, trying to utilize the full amount. And as I noticed that full amount wasn't getting used, I was going to have more credit at the end. So then I upped it to like $6, $8, $10 a day, trying to use it up. Never used it up. So, all right, I'm going to flip this around and we're going to go through some what sold real quick. Okay, so we're going to start with this Pope Hats 123. This sold for $36 shipped. I would say the first 8 items here, my buy cost is less than $1 on these items. It isn't until I get to the spam hat that was $2.50. Says button, it's Visa, but both of these buttons sold for $11 shipped. This Puda bracelet, this was from my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law's collection, no cost on that. This had sold before, but the buyer didn't pay, and it sold for $23, including that's including shipping. This Thornley CD was $21 shipped. This Star Wars book, this vintage book, that sold for $20, including shipping. This, red leather keychain jack. He always teases me. He calls me the leather keychain king. That sold for $19 shipped. This I like buying mountain biking, any kind of extreme sports, skiing, snowboarding, skateboarding, all these things. This sold for $20, including shipping. This spam hat, I thought I had a buyer local, would have rather sold it local, but he kind of jammed on me, and it happens. But you know what? You just kind of got to keep moving forward. This Spider Femme, this sold for $21, including shipping. These Canadian Fitness patches sold for $16 shipped. This Astonishing X-Men comic sold for $15 shipped. Under Armour hat sold for $31 shipped. Taekwondo Yin Yang button sold for $14 shipped. This pin, I didn't put this word in it, but that sold for $16, including shipping. It was a vintage pin. No, actually, this is not as vintage as it could be. You can tell by the sharp part if it goes over the edge. That's how you know it's a pretty old pen. Button. Sorry, it's late, guys. Dune, probably bought because of the new Dune movie that I'm dying to go see. I just don't know when I can set 3 hours aside to watch it. That sold for $25, including shipping. A DC patch sold for $12 shipped. This God's Servant patch, this guy was super excited to find this. Like, he was like messaging me the next day asking me when I was going to ship it. That sold for $14, including shipping. This Lazine Smart Patch Kit, glueless. All right, I'm going to show you this because This is a good. So that sold for $10 including shipping. It was like this big. And it was like folded up into like one of these squares, and it was inside this thing. So basically it's like if you have a hole in, like, so I don't know, like an inner tube maybe, I don't know, but it's some sort of patch. And this was just in my junk drawer, nearly threw it away. And I was like, you know, as an eBay reseller, as a reseller in general, let's not just limit it to eBay, as a reseller in general, it's all about being curious, right? Curious. Does this have any value? Does anybody out there, could anybody out there use this? I mean, this is like finding $10. Well, after shipping, you know, $7.50, you know, $7-8, just in your drawer that you didn't know you had. I'll get to that in a second. This comic sold for $11 shipping. It's about cats. This Danger Girl set sold for $36 shipped. Okay, these tickets here. So this is for my brother-in-law as well. And these nearly got thrown away. There was a bag labeled as garbage, and there was a lot of stuff in there that was not garbage. Like I even have I don't even have the pictures up the right way. Anyhow, I listed this, sold within 15 minutes. Well, I had an offer within 15 minutes. I accepted it. It's going to somewhere far. I want to say France. Anyhow, it ended up costing the guy, between tax, shipping, it was like $30, 30 US shipped. And it's just amazing. I mean, that's like $40 Canadian that was just nearly thrown away. So like ticket stubs, you might not, like, I just found another one. I found another one tonight from my brother-in-law that, and this is going to get listed, Lil Wayne. So you'll probably see this in a future What Sold video. I nearly picked it up and threw it away because it was at the bottom of a crate that just had a bunch of random obscure stuff in there, and I thought this was just like a piece of paper. So, but ticket stubs have value. This Bull CD sold for $21 shipped. This vintage Lufsana map. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Lufthansa. Anyhow, that sold for $14 shipped. And it actually has some issues. Like there's like a sticker on it or something. So Archie Bunker, I thought that was a hilarious pin. That sold for $20 with shipping. These two buttons sold together. Guy came in and bought this one. I thought of you, Jet, if you're watching. Like, this is just like a typical button. Down with everything. Down with everything. Vintage button pin. Pin back. Thumbs down. Dislike. Negative. Anti. I mean, I'm just like trying to think of every keyword that could possibly get somebody searching. I mean, who's searching for down with everything? I just find that awesome that somebody bought that, and then he bought the other one, and together it was $16 shipped for those two, for the Punk Rock Sucks anti-punk. This British Columbia Beefeater Band Canada patch, this sold for $14 including shipping. This guy, and then I saw the address, literally lives like less than 10 minutes from me, but I can't really deliver it because it's in an apartment building. It's Egyptian hieroglyphics photo album. This must be a reset. New listing. I must have just reset this one. Anyhow, this sold for $21 including shipping. This was part of the massive esoteric lot that I bought. It's just, let's see here. Do I have pictures? It's just a photo. You can just put some photos in there. But it has damage as well. It's got like little, I don't know if that's like a marker or I don't know. But the guy, yeah. So yeah. And then the last one is Batgirl That sold for $16, including shipping. So a lot of smaller. Maria's store is really turning into like the smalls, I guess. And then the bigger stuff is generally on my store. But I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy with selling small things like this. It would just be nice if they were seen more. So anyhow, all right, let's flip this around. All right, guys. I'm gonna end this video here. Couple things. Yeah, I basically I want to relax. I want to get this video rendering and put it together, and then I want to start this new show on Netflix called Three Body Problem. I don't know if anybody has checked it out, but the trailer looks amazing. It's from the same creators of Game of Thrones. It has one of the characters from Game of Thrones in there, who was one of the more enduring characters in Game of Thrones. I'm a little skeptical because of how they wrecked the final season of that series, so I'm hoping they learned from their mistakes. I got a question for you guys. This is an Ask the Audience thing. Does anybody know what this is? It was in an old Nintendo that was from my brother. So it says Honeybee, and this was attached to it. Like some video game that's in Chinese. It's just bizarre because this is not what I would have expected to be in a Nintendo that this would have been in, right? So, and I couldn't really find much on it, and I'm afraid that it might be like some kind of knockoff something. I don't want to list it if it's counterfeit or if it's not like authentic. It says Nintendo on the back though. I don't know if you can see that. It says Nintendo on it. This says Honeybee. So I'm so out of the loop with video games. I try not to play them because I have an addictive personality. So if anybody knows what these things are, that would be appreciative. And then again, if you want to get in touch with me, heyfrosales@gmail.com. If you're open to telling your story, if you've got, if you were affected by the April shift, whatever you want to call it, and you've got, a story that you're willing to share, get in touch with me, and then I will get you in touch with the person who is in touch with the journalist. Hope that made sense. Take care, guys. Have a great Monday. I won't be up for the premiere. Tomorrow's my shipping day. Oh, the other thing is I'm back to doing same day shipping. So that was the other reason why I needed to stop and focus on the mark shipped. So anyhow, take care, guys. Peace and blessings to you all. Do all the things, like, subscribe, click that bell, and have a great day. Have great sales. Take care.